Okay, welcome back to the stage, the Lafayette High School Symphonic Band. This is a combination of our advanced band class and percussion once again. You'll see them switch in and out of different instruments throughout these next few pieces. This group has been to LGPE many times. Not every year do we include the intermediate band, but we wanted to give them a challenge this year. And they've done a lot of fantastic performances, concerts especially throughout the year. And here's one more for the road. So we're going to go ahead and get things started with El Camino Real. What a way to start up their portion, huh? That was El Camino Real. Let's give it up for them one more time. Yeah. They let me know my tie got a little loose on that one. All right, so up next is a song called Jubilant Prelude by Claude T. Smith. Very articulate song. We spent plenty of time on this song, and they've really done something with this song. At this point, I do want to recognize a few individuals. If you were selected for the District Jazz Honor Band, please stand up and be recognized. And throughout this portion, we're going to be recognizing many more individuals from the entire year, okay? And we will start with Jubilant Prelude here in just a moment. And that is quite a challenging piece of music, and they did a wonderful job just then. All right, and every once in a while, I like to have their opinion. Like sometimes they'll be like, play Bohemian Rhapsody, let's play this. I'm like, no. And then they're like, let's play a song that we may have played years ago. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? And they're like, yeah. I said, okay. And so their choice, that a lot of our seniors got together, we talked about it, and they said they'd like to play Gladiator, themes from Gladiator. Not this new sequel that came out, we're talking about the original from with Russell Crowe back when. So we spent a little bit of time listening to some Hans Zimmer music here recently. Fantastic composer for any cinematic piece that he writes for. So we'll be playing themes from music from Gladiator. All right, and I intended to recognize a few more students before that last song. All right, so, and that is also not. I said, "Are you sure you guys want to play it?" That's not an easy song. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna play it." Okay, and they did a great job, didn't they? Yeah. All right, so we recognized our district jazz participants. We'd like to move on to the district honor band. If you were selected for the district honor band, please stand up. And also, if you were selected as alternate for district honor band, stand up. Now, a few of these students were qualified for the All-State round. Wave if you qualified for the All-State round. Hey. And then in January, we also had the UTC honor band. Wave if you're in the UTC honor band. Okay. All right, and they have moved the UTC honor band this year to the beginning of December. So if any of you are interested in participating in that this upcoming year, it will be, I think, maybe the first weekend of December. So it's a little bit different. So put that on your calendars if that's something that you're interested in participating in. Okay. Next, we'd like to recognize any of our students, our seniors, who intend to participate in their college marching band in this upcoming year. Please stand if you with the intention of participating in college marching. I may have done that over, but that's okay. And I'm super proud of them. And please, if your child is going to college, encourage them to keep on doing what they have a great time doing, and they do a great job doing it. Great job, guys. Go ahead and have a seat. Also, we'd like to recognize students who participated in the solo and ensemble this year. That was held on April 22nd. 26th. If you'll stand up if you participated in solo and ensemble. We have percussion in the back waiting. And we also had a senior who auditioned for a scholarship and received a French horn scholarship to Jacksonville State University. Please stand up and be recognized. Christopher. All right, so we're going to go on to our final song, and then we'll, with this group, and then we're going to welcome back our intermediate band, and then we'll recognize a few more individuals. All right, so hope you enjoy our last song for the evening in all its glory. required also timpani solos. Hey. And before we play our last song, and I know again this is a little bit different from what we talked about, but there's one special group up here. I've been trying to kind of hold off because, like, as we've been playing this music, I look around and I see some familiar faces that I've seen for years, and I can't. It's difficult to kind of contain myself when I think, this is their last spring concert. And so I'd like to ask all of our seniors to please stand and be recognized. And there's a lot of words that I can say, other than I can't express how proud of them I am, especially through everything they've seen, how the band's grown over the years, and they've grown with it. And so I'm going to save some of that for next week at the Band Awards, but I do want us to recognize them one more time. Let's give it up one more time for our seniors. All right, and why don't you guys stay standing? And what we're going to do is, one more time, we'd like to ask our head drum major, Wyatt Smith, to come up here and bring back out our intermediate band to join us with the playing of the Alma Mater. So if you were Lafayette High School, please join us and sing along if you remember the words. If not, you can sing your part if you were in band and you remember playing it. And returning once again, where you can see a little better, our senior and our percussionist.
She wasn't on the stage. There must be another girl over there wrestling for the wrist. Huh?
This isn't our last concert. We do have a jazz concert on Monday, but this is the last time we'll see all these band members all together. So please come out on Monday and check out the jazz band. And I do want to recognize one more special group of individuals, our band booster officers. If you'll please stand up and be recognized. The President, Vice President, Secretary, and Treasurer, Morgan LeBlanc. Thank you guys for everything you've done. We've been able to make so many things happen with all your efforts, organize and plan fundraisers. And I know parents are tired of them, but it makes the world go around. So thank you, parents, also. Yeah.